we'll be continuing the series and we'll be talking about why this ITIL is crucial. So for the same, we'll be talking about the pestle analysis. Now, what is this pestle analysis? This is the political, economic, social, technological, environmental and the legal framework, right? So asking or talking, from all the perspective why this ITIL is very crucial. So when we are talking about this ITIL, political, when we are serving the international markets, the political factors, the political policies, right, they play a very crucial role, very strategic role when we are, talking about, for example, when we are talking about serving the international market, then it also plays very crucial role that what is our policies with respect to, let's say, the, the infrastructure, or what are our, policies with respect to export or imports. So that is why, the political aspect, it also plays a crucial role. Similarly, your economic policies of the nation. So if you remember the time period of 1991, that LPG, it played a very crucial relevance, very crucial role at that time period, and how after just liberalization, privatization and globalization, there was a boost into trade. Similarly, when we are talking about the NLP for sure is going to have a great impact onto our, international trade logistical structure. Similarly, the socio-economic, the framework that we always talk about, since we talked about the economic, so the social factors, when I'm talking about, providing the goods at one different nations, so the social factors, they also play a very crucial role. Social factor in terms that means, for example, if I'm selling the goods in a, in a market where it is prohibited to sell, let's suppose the beef products, then it is against the, the cultural values. So, the social factor has also to be taken care of when you are serving the international markets. Similarly, certain countries prohibit certain colors. For example, certain countries prefer green, whereas certain consider white as a color of your sorrow. Similarly, certain consider, black as a color which is not so auspicious, whereas red is being considered as a color which, signifies the danger. So that is why, your social factors, they also play a very crucial role. Then to technological factors, environmental factors, and the most important, the legal factors. So all these factors, they tell the role and significance of them into this international trade logistics, and why it is required that due care should be paid towards all these factors. A thorough pestle analysis should be done when we are talking about the international trade logistics. Similarly, when we are talking about this logistics, so the one very country whose name emerges out onto the top with respect to the world-class infrastructure is your UAE. Now, why UAE? Just because Dubai is a logistical hub. So because of its world-class, infrastructure that engages good roads, ports, your airports, right? Then to having a very central location, Dubai has emerged, I would say, as a leading hub for the trade and logistics, and that has also been referred to in article by the ET in 2022. So, Dubai is, economy is having a very significant share, the logistical sector is having a very, significant share into UAE's GDP, that is somehow around 14 to 15%. And Dubai, it has emerged as a major regional trade gateway and, of course, a re-export hub between the east and the west. So it is considered as a re-export hub. It exports the goods and or let's say it imports the goods and then exports it further. So it has developed as a hub of which is acting as an intermediary between the east and the west, right? And the major credit towards this Dubai's you could say growth is we could say ki dedicated to its Jebel Ali port. What is this Jebel Ali port? This is the heart of Dubai sea logistics operations, and it is the largest marine terminal in the Middle East. And further on, not just into the Middle East, it is the 10th largest port in the world, because it is having a capacity that it could handle up to 19.3 million 20 feet equivalent units. When we are talking about 20 feet equivalent unit, that means this is the size of the container. So that much units it can handle, that is what is the capacity of this port. And this actually serves the major key markets in the world, which even includes your Indian subcontinent, African and the Gulf regions, right? So this location of Jebel Ali port is so strategic that it is providing an connectivity. It is sort of an interlinked highway that is connected locally also and to the other countries also. So this Jebel Ali port, it has been the major you could say the region why Dubai has emerged as a, you could say, the power or the major one with respect to infrastructure. So the one very name that comes into the mind when we are talking about a world-class infra, that is a Dubai, and that could be credited just because it is having the great ports, right? Then through you could say when we are talking about this Jebel Ali port, it also offers the logistical access to the Middle East, African and South Asian regions, that is the MESA regions. And it has also helped the city that it is able to integrate into the city into as a free zone and a custom, you could say, bonded roads and rail or the air infrastructure for the further connectivity. That means what? That it is providing you a world class infrastructure wherein you could connect or integrate it into free zone. It is such integrated into a free zone that that connectivity of roads, railways is very smooth, and then too it has created this DP world wherein better if you remember to the same, then better facilities are being provided to you in terms of that, say, smooth and free flow of your, you could say, key goods and services as in terms of custom clearance, right? So Jebel Ali port, it is doing great when talking about giving a boost to the Dubai's logistical structure. And then too it is since it is located midway between your Asia and Europe, and it is also linking the Pacific, Atlantic and the Indian Oceans, so it is able to better serve the market and better serve the goal of our, you could say, the time, form or the place utility, right? Similarly, when we are talking about this Dubai's policies or Dubai's logistical infrastructure, it is already catering to this model of your multi-modal connectivity. That means that it engages either your air, road, sea or a mix of them, so as to ensure that there stands a very smooth, efficient stream of your logistical flows, right? And it is converting it into a multi-modal connectivity setup wherein you are making sure, Dubai is making sure it is best in the world when talking with respect to the logistics and the infrastructure. Now since on and on I'm talking a lot about the logistical and then Dubai emerging as a logistical hub, how do we actually measure this trade logistics? So there has to be a parameter for the same when we are talking about measuring the trade logistics. So the logistical performance index is there, which helps us in measuring the trade logistics. So this is nothing but a weighted average of the country scores onto 6 different dimensions or the parameters, right? So it talks about that how the company is doing on how the country is doing with respect to different 6 dimensions. So it is whether the country is having the efficiency, with respect to the clearing mechanism or not. That means what is the speed, what is the simplicity, how much easy the procedure is when we are talking with respect to the clearance process. So when we are talking about any country, when we are measuring its logistical performance, the first very parameter that comes into the picture is your efficiency of the clearing processes. Then further on, that what is the quality of your trade and transport related infrastructure. That means what? That means how much good or robust your railways are, how much robust your roads are, ports are, or how much digitalized you are with respect to information technology, right? So that is your second parameter with respect to your index that will use in order to compute the weighted average of the country scores. Then how much ease is there of arranging the, you could say, the competitively priced shipments. So are you able to you could say grab a price which is competitively one, a price a better in economical you could say shipment. Then what is the competence and quality of your logistical services? That means with respect to transport operators, with respect to your custom brokers, right? So their competence and their quality also matters a lot when we are ascertaining the index for trade logistics. Similarly, the mechanism that we are using in able to, you could say, track and trace the consignments. That means this RFID, that is your radio frequency identification tags, they are being placed onto your consignments, and now those placing those RFID tags onto your consignments are they'll do what? They will help you in identifying and tracking and tracing the consignments. So using the technology on with your you could say already existing logistical infra, and then to provide the better services, obviously that will boost your logistical index. And the last very parameter is your timeliness of your shipments in reaching the scheduled destination, right? So is your shipment able to reach the destination on time or not, or whether the dwelling time onto the port has been reduced or not. So all these factors, all these 6 factors, they play a very crucial role when we are ascertaining the trade logistics, right? Then when we are talking with respect to India, right, India has taken a great jump with respect to its, you could say, World Bank's you could say logistical index that has been provided. So it has jumped, you could say, almost 6 places. Earlier the logistical index of India was somehow at around 44. Now it has you could say the due to better LPI, it is able to jump places, right? Now it is standing at the 38th rank. So the first rank is grabbed by Singapore, then by Finland, and then by Germany, Canada, France, US, China you could say is at 19 number, then UK you could see at 19th number, and Thailand at 34th. India is there at 38th position. So you could see India is doing great when we are comparing it with our 2018 index. You could see the database out here that it has done a great with respect to you could say both the soft and the hard infrastructure, and moreover the dwelling time has also reduced when we are talking with respect to India. For example, in 2015 the government has decided to sort of provide better linkages at your eastern ports of India. So Vizag, all at Visakhapatnam, right? So India government has done has started pushing for the digitalization of the things, and it has started going up for the using the RFID tags. So with using different initiatives, whether I'm talking with respect to eastern port of India, it is able to reduce down the dwelling time. So the dwelling time has been reduced from an average of let's suppose 32 to a dwelling time period of only 5 in 2019. So you could see, through this developments that has taken place in over past few years, right, India is able to score a good rank with respect to LPI index. That means, and this index is given by none other than your World Bank. So the data is very authenticated with respect to your, index given by World Bank, that says that yes, India is doing great, whether we, talk with respect to infrastructure, whether we talk about the, with respect to international shipments, and then talking about the timeliness and quality and competence. So India, you could see, has done a great as compared to 2018, but still there are parameters wherein we are supposed to do, much better, whether it is with respect to the customs or tracking and tracing the consignments. So if we are better able to track and trace the consignments, or the custom procedure is, very smooth, simple and easy, then yes, maybe in coming years we'll be there into the, grabbing the top notch places, right? And yes, India is emerging nation. So with this NLP into the place, we'll be able to better reduce our dwelling time, better perform in terms of our LPI, and better provide the, world class infrastructure to the nation, and thereby reducing the your transactional cost to somehow 7 to 8% of the GDP. So you could see that the, the average dwelling time for the containers in somehow between May to October was 3 days for India, and for the Singapore, and 4 for the US, United Arab Emirates and South Africa, and 7 for US, and 10 for your Germany. That means India's dwelling time has over the time period reduced. That is a, a good insight that shows that, gives you a insight that India is doing a great, it is doing great with respect to your, reduced dwelling time. It is doing great with respect to introducing, you could say, new mechanisms, and, digitalizing the entire network. And this is what is the aim of our national logistical policy also, that it aims to, create that integrated logistical, platform wherein all the, policies would be integrated, and you will be having a choice that, you will be having that mechanism to choose upon from intermodal or multimodal. And when we are talking about this multimodal, this is nothing but this is your Gati Shakti Yojana, yes, wherein the government is taking care that, under this national logistical policy, this digital system is integrated. You are having a better, you could say, logistical, you could say, setup wherein the officers are also regularly monitoring the project, so that, all the loopholes, all the problems, all the bottlenecks which are there onto the way, they are removed, right? And you are able to get a very smooth, interface through which you can facilitate the cargo movement. Rather, you can also, choose upon to from different, you could say, set of your transportation modes. And then to the government is also aiming towards standardizing the warehouses for the, for storing the physical your goods, right? So the aim under your this NLP is, the government's goal is very clear, it's very transparent. It says the government is focusing towards that, making this logistical, entire logistical industry your setup a more efficient, robust, and thereby reducing its cost, right? So the government vision under this NLP is to, boost your economic growth, and moreover providing the better employment opportunities, and further on the ultimate vision is to make Indian products more competitive, the better ones, the best in class in the global markets, right? and that is why the government is intending that it should, under this vision of your NLP 2022, it is able to cut down from its logistical costs from 16% of GDP to somehow 8% by 2030. And if we go by the rough estimates that are available, it says the worth of Indian market, Indian logistical market will be somehow around USD 215 billion in the upcoming years as compared to the present times of your USD 160 billion. So you could, simply see into the growth potential the Indian market is having. Potential with respect to if this, NLP is there into its place, if all these programs or your initiatives of Gati Shakti Yojana, initiative of Bharatmala, Sagarmala, Parvatmala will be there into the place, just imagine how much good, how much robust infrastructure will be having. And then too, if all these warehouses, they are integrated, they are digitalized, so you could see upon how much good our distribution setup will be having, a storage setup will be having. So all these factors, whether it is with respect to having a better custom clearance process or a very simple process which is able to, provide you a very smooth flow of your, goods from and towards the country. So these all things will, lead to, it will, led to a better, reduce down your costs and providing better economic opportunities, not just in terms of the job, but also it will boost the growth of the economy. It will move towards that aim of, sustainable development. It will also take care into that, since the government has already started this initiative of your, introducing the dedicated freight corridors, then coming up with the world-class railway setups, railway lines, then, the roads should be world-class. So what will happen if we'll be having this in this sort of your infrastructure? Then our logistical costs would reduce. How? Imagine if you're having the good roads, right? If you're having the great railways, you are having the best ports handling a millions of capacity, then what is the outcome? You are better able to facilitate the trade. And if you are better able to, facilitate the trade and, make it a more efficient one, more effective one, then obviously you are able to lower down onto the cost. And if the cost will reduce, there will be a boost to the Indian market, there will be a boost to that, Made in India initiative, there will be more opportunities that will be available for the Indian exporters, right? So, we'll be, entering the new spaces, we'll be making, the efforts towards offering best to the international market. So, all these things contribute towards the better logistical setup, wherein when we are talking with respect to, let's say, domestic event or the international event, then we are better able to mark our, presence into the market and better able to serve the customers, since the very 7 hours of the trade logistics should be kept into mind when we are serving the markets. That is, the product should reach at the right time, at the right point, in the right, you could say, quantum, to the right place, right, to the right customer, and I would like to add that is at the right cost. So this cost has to cut down, and in order to cut down onto this cost, a number of efforts are reduced, right, not just from the government as a whole, but from at the very micro level by the individuals also, right. So, when we are talking about international trade logistics, a number of factors will be taking up into the next segments also, whether we talk about with respect to packing, whether we talk about with respect to ocean transportation, whether we talk about to your, global value chains, and then talking about the storage system, the concept of use of your containerization, palletization, right, and number of related concepts where the idea and intent is very clear, that is to promote the growth of the Indian market, make it more, competitive in the global market, and making sure, we are able to cut down onto the cost, but also making sure that we are able to enhance the customer satisfaction, adding value to the economy also, right? So, international trade logistics roams around all these, activities, all these dimensions, wherein it makes sure that, you are serving, if you are, let's suppose, best in class in terms of any one product. Let's suppose it is said that best of our apples, they go to the best places. So when we are sending those apples, we have to be very careful with respect to how they'll be stored, how they'll be packed, what should be the, packing material that should be used for the packing of the goods, how the marking and the labeling has to be done, what sort of certificates are required when serving the international markets, and then to what are our custom procedures with respect to the same, and then further, the containers that will be used, and then whether we require the reefer ones, whether we require the usual 20 feet equivalent units or any other sort of a containers. So, each and every decision matters a lot when you are serving the international markets, right from its production to its packaging, to its labeling, to its branding, to its, placing it up onto the shipment, or just making sure to placing it up onto the containers and then to the ship, then taking care of the insurance, right? Then taking care of that, whether you want to engage the multi-modal mechanism or the intermodal mechanism, then taking care how the, the payment mechanism will be settled, and finally when, it is reaching the consignee's place, what all routes will be used, what particular, port will be used, and how the custom clearances for the same will be obtained, and what is the role of your, freight forwarders, what is the role of your custom house agents. So there are number of concepts when we are talking with respect to international trade logistics, and even not just it is settled at that point of time. Further on, it will, it depends on to your consignees place ki wahan par, whether you are easily able to procure the custom clearance, then paying of the duty at that point also, and then when, the customer is opening those, it is going for the inspection of the cargo should be there intact into the right form, right condition, right? And then if it is into the right form, into the right condition, and when the customer has finally consumed the goods, or, he should be satisfied. So the after thing has also to be ensured. So, when we are serving the international markets, logistics, it matters a lot, because it is through a robust, holistic, integrated policies that we are better able to serve the international customers, to enhance the customer values, and, mark our presence in a better manner in the international market. So that's it for the day. We'll be talking about the NLP and many more concepts in the upcoming sessions. So thank you.